Ella's heart stopped as she felt Elizabeth's lips brush against hers in the dim glow of the backyard lantern. The world narrowing to that single electric moment that shattered every boundary she'd ever known. It wasn't planned. One second they were laughing about old high school stories, the next Elizabeth's hand was on her cheek, pulling her in with a desperation that mirrored her own hidden longings. But as the kiss deepened, a door creaked open behind them, and there stood Sarah, Elizabeth's sister and Ella's best friend since childhood, her face twisting from confusion to raw betrayal in an instant. Ella pulled back, her breath ragged, the taste of Elizabeth's lip gloss lingering like a guilty secret. How had it come to this? She'd always known deep down that her feelings for women weren't just a phase, but admitting it meant risking everything: her conservative family in small-town Ohio, her steady job as a graphic designer in Chicago, and now her unbreakable bond with Sarah. Elizabeth, with her sharp wit and unyielding confidence, had been the one to crack open that door in Ella's mind, but now, standing there under Sarah's accusing glare, Ella wondered if she'd just lit a match to her entire life. I can explain," Ella stammered, but the words felt hollow even as they left her mouth. Sarah didn't move, her arms crossed tightly over her chest, eyes darting between her sister and her best friend like she was piecing together a puzzle she'd never wanted to solve. Elizabeth stepped forward, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "Sarah, this isn't what it looks like." "Wait, no it is, but it's not something we meant to hide from you." The air thickened with unspoken accusations, and Ella's mind raced through the years of friendship, the sleepovers, the shared secrets, all now tainted by this revelation. Inside, Ella's thoughts churned like a storm. Why did I let this happen? She'd fought these feelings for so long, burying them under layers of denial and forced dates with men who never sparked anything real. Elizabeth had been different from the start, Sarah's older sister, the one who'd always seemed so put together, with a career in journalism that took her across the country. They'd reconnected at Sarah's birthday party 6 months ago, and what started as casual coffee meetups had evolved into late-night talks that left Ella questioning everything. But kissing her? That was crossing a line she couldn't uncross. What if Sarah tells Mom and Dad? The thought sent a chill down her spine. Her parents, devout churchgoers, had made their views on alternative lifestyles clear during family dinners, quoting scriptures that left no room for interpretation. As Sarah finally spoke, her voice cracking, "How long has this been going on? Were you laughing at me behind my back?" Ella felt the weight of her decision pressing down. She could deny it, blame the alcohol from the party earlier, but that would be a lie, and lies had a way of festering. Instead, she met Sarah's eyes, forcing herself to stand tall. "It started innocently, Sarah. We didn't plan this. But I care about Elizabeth a lot." Elizabeth nodded, reaching for Sarah's arm, but Sarah jerked away, her hurt morphing into anger. "You care? About my sister? This is messed up, Ella. You're supposed to be my friend." The confrontation escalated quickly, voices rising in the quiet suburban night. Ella's inner monologue screamed for escape. Run, just run and pretend this never happened. But she stayed, knowing that fleeing would only confirm Sarah's worst fears. Elizabeth tried to mediate, explaining how their connection had grown organically, how they'd both been scared to admit it. But Sarah wasn't hearing it. She stormed back inside, slamming the door, leaving Ella and Elizabeth alone in the aftermath. Ella turned to Elizabeth, her voice a whisper. "What do we do now?" Elizabeth's eyes, usually so fierce, softened with regret. "We face it. Together." But even as she said it, Ella doubted if together was possible in a world that seemed determined to pull them apart. The next morning dawned too bright, too normal for the chaos brewing inside Ella. She hadn't slept, replaying the kiss in Sarah's face over and over. Her phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. "We need to talk. Alone." Ella's stomach twisted. Meeting Sarah at their favorite diner felt like walking into a trap, but she went anyway, driven by the guilt gnawing at her core. Why did I have to fall for her sister? It wasn't just attraction. It was the way Elizabeth challenged her, made her feel seen in a way no one else had. But now, that feeling came with a price tag she wasn't sure she could afford. At the diner, Sarah sat rigidly, coffee untouched. "Explain it to me, Ella. Make me understand why you do this." Ella hesitated, her mind flooding with memories of realizing in college that her crushes on female classmates weren't just admiration, of hiding it from everyone to avoid the judgment. I didn't choose this, Sarah. It's who I am. And Elizabeth. She gets it. She feels the same. Sarah's eyes welled up. But why her? My family is traditional. Dad will flip out if he finds out. Ella nodded, knowing the truth of it. Elizabeth's family was even more conservative than hers, with a father who ran a local church group. The risk was enormous, but denying her feelings felt like suffocating. As they talked, Sarah's anger softened to hurt, revealing her own fears. I feel betrayed, like you two were sneaking around. Ella apologized profusely, but inside, she wrestled with the morality of it all. Was it wrong to pursue happiness if it hurt others? The conversation ended unresolved, with Sarah saying she needed time. Driving home, Ella's thoughts darkened. This is just the beginning. If Sarah can't accept it, how will anyone else? She pulled over, tears blurring her vision, the weight of her choices crashing down. By evening, Elizabeth called, her voice laced with worry. Sarah told me about your talk. She's confused, but she'll come around. Ella wanted to believe it, but doubt lingered. They decided to meet discreetly, away from prying eyes, to figure out their next steps. As they sat in a quiet park, hands intertwined, Ella confessed her fears. What if this costs me everything, my friends, my family? Elizabeth squeezed her hand. It might. But living a lie costs more. Her words resonated, but Ella couldn't shake the impending storm. Little did she know, the real betrayal was yet to come. Ella stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror, the bags under her eyes a testament to another sleepless night. Since that midnight kiss 2 weeks ago, her life had become a tightrope walk between secrecy and revelation. Elizabeth had suggested they keep things low-key until Sarah cooled off, but every stolen moment felt like borrowing time from a debt collector who was bound to show up soon. Her phone vibrated. A message from her mother. Dinner Sunday? Your father misses you. Ella's chest tightened. Family dinners were minefields now. One wrong word and the truth could slip out. She typed back a quick yes, but inside panic brewed. How do I sit there pretending everything's normal? Her parents had always pushed her toward the right path. Good job, nice husband, kids. Coming out to them wasn't just scary. It was potentially explosive. She'd seen how they reacted to a cousin's divorce, calling it a moral failure. What would they say about this? At work, the distraction showed. Her boss pulled her aside after a botched presentation. Ella, you're not yourself. Everything okay? She forced a smile. Just personal stuff. But it wasn't just personal, it was all-consuming. Elizabeth texted her throughout the day. Little notes of encouragement that warmed her, but also reminded her of the stakes. I miss you. Can't wait for tonight. They planned to meet at Elizabeth's apartment, but even that carried risks. Neighbors who knew Sarah who might talk. When Ella arrived, Elizabeth greeted her with a hug that lingered, their foreheads touching in silent understanding. Sarah called me today, Elizabeth said, pulling back. She's still upset, but she hasn't told anyone else. Relief washed over Ella, but it was short-lived. What if she does? Your dad. He's so strict. Elizabeth sighed, running a hand through her hair. I know. He's always quoting the Bible about family values. If he finds out, he might disown me. The words hung heavy and Ella's mind spiraled. Am I worth that risk? She voiced it aloud, her voice trembling. Maybe we should stop before it gets worse. Elizabeth's eyes flashed with determination. No. I've hidden who I am for too long. Meeting you changed that. They talked late into the night, sharing stories of past relationships that never felt right, of the loneliness that came with pretending. But as intimate as it was, Ella couldn't ignore the ethical dilemma. Was pursuing this love selfish if it tore apart families? Elizabeth argued it wasn't, that authenticity was a right, but Ella wrestled with guilt, especially over Sarah. The next day, Sarah invited Ella for coffee again, this time with an edge in her tone. I need to know if you're serious about my sister. Ella nodded, her heart pounding. I am. But I hate that it's hurting you. Sarah leaned in, her voice low. It's not just me. Our family won't accept this. You know that. Ella did know, and it fueled her inner conflict. Why can't love be simple? As they parted, Sarah warned, be careful. Secrets have a way of coming out. Back home, Ella's thoughts turned darker. She imagined her parents' faces if they learned the truth. Disappointment, anger, perhaps rejection. She'd always been the good daughter, the one who followed rules. This felt like rebellion, but was it wrong? Elizabeth called, sensing her turmoil. We can handle this. Together. But Ella wondered if together meant dragging Elizabeth down with her. Tension built as the family dinner approached. Ella arrived at her parents' house, nerves frayed. Conversation flowed normally at first. Work, weather. But then her mother asked, "Seeing anyone special?" Ella froze, her mind screaming lies. No, not really. The deception tasted bitter. Inside, she debated confessing, but the fear of their reaction stopped her. What if they cut me off? The thought of losing their support terrified her. Yet so did losing Elizabeth. After dinner, alone in her old room, Ella cried silently. The pressure was mounting, society's expectations like invisible chains. She scrolled through online forums, reading stories of others who'd come out, some with happy endings, others with heartbreak. It only amplified her doubts. Is this worth the pain? Meanwhile, Elizabeth faced her own battles. At a family gathering, her father ranted about modern sins eroding society, glancing at her suspiciously. She confided in Ella later, voice shaking. I almost told him, but I couldn't. Their conversations grew more intense, weighing the moral choices. Hide and preserve peace, or reveal and risk chaos. Ella leaned toward caution, but Elizabeth pushed for honesty, creating subtle friction between them. As days passed, small cracks appeared. A coworker noticed Ella's distraction and joked about love troubles, hitting too close. Ella brushed it off, but paranoia set in. What if someone finds out? The societal stigma loomed large, whispers at work, judgment from friends. Ella's inner monologue raged. Why fight a system stacked against us? But Elizabeth's unwavering belief kept her going, even as the high-wire act grew more precarious. One evening, Sarah dropped by unannounced, catching Ella off guard. I saw you two together yesterday. You're not being careful. Ella's heart raced. Please don't tell anyone. Sarah hesitated, her loyalty torn. I won't for now. But this is going to blow up. The warning echoed in Ella's mind, foreshadowing the storm ahead. She realized then that every decision carried a cost, and she was about to pay dearly. Ella's world tilted when she opened her apartment door to find her father standing there, unannounced, his face etched with concern that quickly hardened into suspicion. We need to talk, he said, stepping inside without invitation. Her mind raced. How did he know? But as he sat down, pulling out his phone, she saw the photo. Her and Elizabeth, hands linked in a coffee shop, captured by who knows whom. Sarah, she thought instantly, betrayal stabbing deep. I got this from an anonymous text, her father growled. Care to explain? Ella's throat closed up. Deny it? Confess? The moral crossroads loomed. Dad, it's complicated. He slammed his hand on the table. Complicated? This is against everything we taught you. His words unleashed a torrent of accusations, sin, disappointment, family shame. Inside, Ella screamed. Why can't you see me for who I am? But aloud she defended herself, voice steady despite the tears. I love her, Dad. That's not a choice, it's me. He left in a huff, warning of consequences, leaving Ella shattered. She called Elizabeth immediately. My dad knows. Someone sent him a photo. Elizabeth gasped. Sarah wouldn't. But doubt crept in. Their confrontation with Sarah came swiftly, meeting at a neutral park. Did you do this? Ella demanded. Sarah's eyes widened. No. I swear. But her hesitation spoke volumes, and when pressed, she admitted to confiding in a mutual friend for advice. I didn't think they'd spread it. Betrayal burned hot. Sarah's action, intentional or not, had ignited the fire. Ella's inner turmoil peaked. How could my best friend do this? Trust fractured, she lashed out. You promised time. Now everything's ruined. Sarah cried. I was scared for you both. The argument escalated, words like weapons, betrayal, loyalty, hurt. Elizabeth tried to calm them, but the damage was done. In that moment, Ella faced a harsh truth. Love demanded sacrifices, but so did friendship, and choosing one meant losing the other. Word spread like wildfire. At work, whispers followed Ella. A colleague asked outright, Is it true you're? You know. The societal pressure crushed her. Judgmental stares, subtle exclusions. She debated quitting, but that felt like surrender. Instead, she confronted her boss, owning her truth. Yes, I'm gay. Does that change my work? He supported her, but the victory was bittersweet, costing her peace. Elizabeth's side unraveled too. Her father called a family meeting, confronting her directly. This ends now, he declared. Elizabeth stood firm. No, Dad. This is who I am. The fallout was immediate, harsh words, threats of disinheritance. She confided in Ella, sobbing. He said I'm no longer welcome at home. Ella held her but guilt gnawed. Is this my fault? Their relationship strained under the weight, arguments flaring over blame. If we hadn't kissed that night. Ella started, but Elizabeth cut her off. Don't regret us. Yet regret simmered. A deeper betrayal emerged when Ella discovered Elizabeth had briefly dated a man to appease her family years ago, hiding it from her. Why didn't you tell me? Ella accused. Elizabeth admitted. I was ashamed. Trust cracked further, moral questions arising. Was omission the same as lying? Ella wrestled with forgiveness, her heart torn between love and hurt. Amid the chaos, they faced public backlash. At a local event, old friends shunned them, whispering about unnatural choices. Ella's inner voice debated, fight or flee. They chose fight, attending a support group where stories of similar struggles offered solace but also highlighted the costs. Lost jobs, estranged families. One woman's tale of reconciliation inspired, but another's of permanent rift terrified. Sarah attempted reconciliation, apologizing profusely. I messed up. I was jealous, scared. Ella listened, but forgiveness came slow. You hurt us deeply. The conversation revealed Sarah's own internal conflicts, questioning her biases, facing her role in the drama. But as they parted, unease lingered. Could bonds mend after such damage? The climax built as Ella's mother reached out, tearful. Your father is angry, but I want to understand. Ella met her, pouring out her soul, the years of hiding, the joy Elizabeth brought. Her mother listened, conflicted. It's hard for us, but you're my daughter. A glimmer of hope, but her father's silence loomed. Ella realized then that every choice, to love, to hide, to reveal, carried irreversible consequences, and the price was steeper than imagined. Tensions peaked when Elizabeth's father showed up at Ella's door, demanding she leave his daughter alone. The confrontation was explosive. You're destroying her life, he shouted. Ella stood her ground. No, sir. We're building one together. He left fuming, but the encounter left scars. Inside, Ella questioned everything. Is this love worth the war? As the dust settled, she knew the battles were far from over, with more betrayals waiting in the shadows. Ella paced her living room, the echo of her father's ultimatum ringing in her ears. Choose your lifestyle or your family. The words cut deeper than any knife, forcing her to confront the ultimate trade-off. Stay with Elizabeth and lose her parents' support, or deny her heart to preserve the facade. Her mind screamed against the injustice. Why must love demand such sacrifices? But reality was unyielding. Her father's threat included cutting financial ties, even blocking her from family events. She confided in Elizabeth, who faced similar pressures. My dad froze my accounts, Elizabeth revealed, her voice breaking. He thinks he can force me back. They huddled together, weighing options. Move away. Fight legally. But each path meant loss, jobs, security, roots. Ella's inner debate raged. Am I selfish for wanting both? Morality blurred. Was honoring her truth ethical if it devastated others? Damage mounted. At work, a promotion slipped away, her boss citing distractions. Discrimination veiled as concern, but Ella knew better. She filed a complaint, but the process drained her, highlighting societal biases. Friends divided, some rallied, others ghosted, their abandonment a fresh wound. How could they? Ella thought, hurt turning to anger. Sarah's role evolved. Guilt-driven, she tried bridging gaps, talking to both families. But her efforts backfired when Ella's father accused her of meddling. This is your fault too, he barked. Sarah retreated, damaged by the crossfire. Ella felt the ripple effects, her choices hurting not just her, but everyone connected. Was this the price of authenticity? A pivotal moment came during a heated argument with Elizabeth. "We can't keep fighting our families," Ella said. "Maybe we need space." Elizabeth recoiled. "Space? After everything?" Tears flowed as they dissected their relationship, the joys overshadowed by pain. Elizabeth admitted, "I pushed too hard. I thought love would conquer all." Ella nodded, realizing her own naivety. They decided to pause, not end, but the separation felt like amputation. Alone, Ella spiraled into depression. Sleepless nights filled with what-ifs. What if I'd never kissed her? Therapy helped unpack the trauma, but sessions revealed deep-seated shame from societal conditioning. "You're not broken," her therapist said, but internalizing it was hard. She volunteered at an LGBTQ center, finding community, but stories there amplified her fears. Estranged parents, lost careers. Reconnection with her mother offered a lifeline. Secret meetings where her mom asked questions trying to understand. "I don't get it, but I love you." Progress, but slow, and her father's stubbornness persisted. Ella debated cutting ties, but the thought gutted her. Family was her foundation. Losing it meant rebuilding from scratch. Elizabeth endured parallel torment. Her journalism career suffered. An editor pulled a story, citing personal controversies. She fought back, going public with an op-ed on discrimination, but it invited trolls, hate mail flooding in. "Is this worth it?" she asked Ella during a clandestine call. "For us? Yes." But doubt lingered, their bond tested by distance. Betrayal struck again when a friend leaked private messages to Elizabeth's father, twisting words to paint them as defiant sinners. He escalated, involving the church community in prayers that felt like shaming. Elizabeth broke down, questioning her faith. How can love be wrong? Ella comforted her remotely, but the damage scarred deep. Moral quandaries arose. Forgive the betrayer or cut them out? Ella chose distance, paying with isolation. As months dragged, Ella made a bold move, relocating to a more accepting city, San Francisco, for a new job. The decision cost her Chicago life, but promised freedom. Elizabeth joined later, their reunion bittersweet. "We lost so much," Ella whispered. Elizabeth agreed but added, "We gained us." Yet the wounds festered. Therapy became routine, unpacking trauma. The final toll hit when Sarah, overwhelmed, distanced herself permanently. "I can't handle the drama," she said in a farewell text. Ella's heart broke anew. Losing her best friend, the ultimate price. Inside, she reflected. Every action has consequences, and mine have reshaped lives. As they rebuilt, Ella wondered if the sacrifices would ever feel justified. The pain a constant companion in their fragile new beginning. Ella stood in the sun-drenched apartment overlooking the San Francisco Bay. A year after that fateful kiss, her life a mosaic of scars and tentative healing. The move had been a lifeline, but echoes of loss lingered. Sporadic calls from her mother, silence from her father, an empty space where Sarah once fit. Elizabeth, now her partner in every sense, worked beside her on freelance projects. Their bond forged in fire but stronger for it. Yet, as they navigated this new normal, Ella couldn't escape the awakenings that had come at such cost. Reflection came in quiet moments. Why did we have to suffer so much for something so natural? Therapy had unearthed layers, internalized homophobia, the weight of societal norms. Ella realized her initial denial stemmed from fear, not flaw. "I'm not broken," she affirmed daily, a mantra against the doubts. Elizabeth's op-ed had sparked change. Readers shared stories, some even reconciling with families inspired by hers. But for every victory, reminders of pain surfaced, like holidays alone, or news of conservative policies threatening rights. Awakening extended to action. They joined advocacy groups, speaking at events about the human cost of prejudice. Ella's voice trembled at first, recounting betrayals and trade-offs, but grew steady. Love shouldn't require sacrifice, she'd say, though she knew it often did. Internally, she debated ethics. Was hiding ever justifiable? Her experiences said no, deception eroded the soul. But she empathized with those who chose it, understanding the fear. Reconciliation flickered with her mother, who visited secretly. "Your father's softening," she whispered, hope in her eyes. Ella clung to it, but prepared for disappointment. The moral tightrope persisted. Push for acceptance or accept estrangement. She chose patience, paying with ongoing heartache. Elizabeth's family remained fractured. Her father unyielding, but a sibling reached out, bridging gaps. Not everyone changes, Elizabeth mused. Their relationship deepened through these trials, decisions now shared, costs weighed together. Yet Ella often pondered the what-ifs. A life without the kiss, without the chaos. Would it have been easier? Safer? But emptier, she concluded. Society's shifts offered solace, growing acceptance in some circles but backlash in others. Ella followed news of LGBTQ rights, cheering progress, mourning setbacks. Her awakening was profound. Realizing personal choices rippled outward, challenging systems. "We paid the price so others might not have to," she told Elizabeth one night, stars twinkling outside. As time healed wounds, new challenges arose. Career rebounds brought fulfillment, but memories of discrimination fueled vigilance. Friendships reformed, selective now, built on authenticity. Sarah's absence stung most. A brief message came once, "I miss you, but no more." Ella forgave in her heart, understanding fear's grip, but the loss taught boundaries. In intimate talks, they dissected moral ambiguities. Was Sarah's betrayal unforgivable? Did family owe unconditional love? Answers eluded, but discussions fostered growth. Ella's inner peace grew, acceptance replacing turmoil. "We chose us," she thought, a quiet triumph. The story culminated in a small ceremony. Just them and allies, vowing commitment amid past shadows. Joy mingled with sorrow. Absent faces a reminder of costs. But in that moment Ella felt awakened, eyes open to life's complexities. Love wasn't fairy tale simple. It demanded courage, exacted tolls. Yet, as they danced under string lights, Ella whispered, "Was it worth it?" Elizabeth smiled. "Every bit." The question lingered, a testament to their journey. In the end, awakenings came not from ease, but from enduring the storm. But was denying one's truth ever the right choice? Or does society bear the blame for forcing such impossible decisions?